family, and welcome back to A Woman's Heart podcast, your go to destination to explore faith, inspiration, health, and personal growth. Today, we have two incredible guests that are going to be on the show, shedding light on their significance of brain, heart, and gut, the three pillars of psychology. So get ready to be inspired and uplifted as we delve into meaningful conversation that will empower and educate and equip you with knowledge. Stay tuned for this enlightening episode so you too can be blessed. Hi, and welcome back to Woman's Heart Podcast, where we explore faith, inspiration, health, and personal growth. I am so excited that you're joining me for another empowering message because today we have not one but two amazing guests with us, Miss J.L. Bolton and Dr. Eke. And J.L. Bolton is a certified integrative nutrition health coach with over 36 years of experience in the direct sales industry. And after overcoming breast cancer, she pursued a passion for holistic health and wellness. She's married to her BFF, Kim Bolton, and is a proud mother of two grown children, currently residing in South Riding, Virginia. And JL is dedicated to helping others on their journey to heal and prevent illness. And our second guest on the show today is Dr. Louis Eke. He is the director and CEO of Cornerstone Health Solutions, specializing in neuropsychology and cognitive behavior therapy with over 25 years of experience. Dr. Eke leads a team that offers services for brain health issues like depression, PTSD, and brain injuries. He holds a PhD in health psychology with a subspecialty in neuropsychology and is affiliated with various organizations. Dr. Eke is dedicated to using clinical research and addressing the neurocognitive impairments. I want to make sure I say that right. And he lives in Virginia with his wife, serving their faith community through faith-based activities. So think of me as your chief encouragement officer, setting the stage to delve into the wellness journey of JL and Dr. Eke's expertise in brain health. Both will help us to get a better understanding of the brain, the heart, the gut, the three parts of psychology and holistic well-being. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And thank you for being here. And we are looking forward to both of you all sharing your expertise and journey with us. And JL, we're going to jump in and start with you. So why don't you tell me who you are and what makes you get up in the morning?
That is a great question. I like to say I am a child of God. I am the daughter of the King. And I just feel like I am meant to matter. And that is my focus. Waking up every day. What is it that I am supposed to do? What is my purpose? How can I be on purpose and work in purpose? And truly right now, what gets me up in the morning is I would love to create a brain health revolution and just have people understand how important it is to look at your brain, because so often we just don't.
Awesome. That is so good. So with that said, can you share with us your personal journey and what is this big why? Where is this coming from? Why do you want to share that information? What made you take that leap of faith to start to look at what we call transcranial magnetic stimulation? We're going to refer to it as TMS because it's such a mouthful. So we'll just say TMS.
Yes.
So tell us the personal journey. How did we get here?
Well, this is where I get to be completely vulnerable and truly confess that I have been depressed. And honestly, I can trace it back to childhood. I don't know what happened specifically, but I feel like you create a blueprint, and as life happens, you start to react in certain ways, and it becomes a pattern. And my pattern was self-pity. I'm not good enough. Everybody's better than me. I can't do it. And although I'm a great actress and I was able to, get through day-to-day life and people would never know, I actually, when I was in college, I started tracking it, and I wasn't I couldn't be happy for more than 2 days without starting to sink. And it would be just some minor trigger, like maybe I didn't get an A on a test, and I would be like, why am I even here? I can't do this, da, 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 and just spiral downwards. And through life, I have built tools, and I call them BBA, bounce back ability, where I would know, okay, I got to make myself feel better. But it was work. And it just kept happening over and over again. And as my faith grew, my spirituality, I just knew that this is not how God wanted me to live my life. And so learning to understand that there were options and there's things that's available. Something that really blew my mind is the fact that psychiatry is the only medical specialty that does not look at the organ they treat. So often people may have go to a cardiologist. They've never even had a heart attack, but they want to just be prepared. They want to take care of their organs. They're just preventing things, but we don't do anything to prevent things with our brain. And so that's when I started learning more and more about the brain and how there are things that can prevent, that can help you and grow you to where you want to be. And that this didn't have to be my lifestyle. And so that's where I started learning more and more. And especially as I went into my journey with becoming a health coach, having different lectures, and in particular, someone named Dr. Daniel Amen is somebody that I follow, where he actually has a book that says, the brain you have, you don't have to keep. So we can make changes. And there's a beautiful word that I've adopted. In fact, I've claimed myself to be Dr. Bolton now, because we are each neuroplasticians. There's a word called neuroplasticity, where we can actually reorganize the brain patterns that we have. So I didn't have to have this recurring spiral. I could have positive things happen.
I love that. And so with you having positive things happening, there is a process that happened for you to get to this leap of faith, to start to connect with Dr. Eke and find out, okay, he has this science that can help me get out of this fog, get out of this funk that I was in. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you connected with Dr. Eke. How did that even occur?
And this is where part 2 comes in. And that is that my mother, she is 87 years old and she does have Alzheimer's. My aunt, who is her sister, is 90. She also has Alzheimer's. And their brother just passed away at 95 a year ago, Alzheimer's. So I knew I couldn't be stupid. It is in my genes. And just because it's in my genes does not mean that I would get it. However, and for the longest while, I just thought, well, if it happens, it happens. There's nothing I can do if it happens. But then I started with my studying, understanding that there are preventatives. So that's where I partnered with Dr. Eke and learned all about TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation. So I'm not sure if you want me to explain the TMS part. Or...
No, we're going to let Dr. Eke jump in at that point and explain that a little bit. But I wanted to ask you just one more question, JL, before we have Dr. Eke jump in, because now that you have these results, right, and how has it affected your perspective, your mindset, and your lifestyle?
That is a mouthful. How much time do we have? Honestly, I feel like I have a new brain. I feel like I have a new lease on life. I have clarity. I have better communication skills. I'm remembering things. Part of the process is that I did have to have an MRI to take a picture and just see what was going on in my brain. And he did see that there was brain fog, which could lead to Alzheimer's. He also saw that there was depression. And the machine was able to tell us exactly where in my brain to stimulate. So we worked on that. And my marriage is better. My relationships are better. I mean, I truly just I feel like I have a new lease on life. And it's like you got a new toy and it's like you want to protect it and take care of it. And that is how I think of my brain now. It's like this new thing that I have that I just feel like a whole new world has opened up. And I know it sounds very cliche, but it has made a huge life-changing difference in my life. And that's why I was so passionate to connect with you and just be able to tell more people about it, because there are so many people who have the diagnosis of Alzheimer's and who just feel like there's nothing they can do. And unfortunately, it actually starts long before you have symptoms. And so in your 30s, 40s, 50s is when it can happen, but it may not show up till 70s and 80s. But just watching what's happening with my mother and how it's just affecting all of us as a family, I just know I want to do everything I can to prevent. And I found that this is the answer for me.
Awesome. I love that. And one more thing too, because you shared with me, I don't know if you remember, but a while back that you said as you were, doing some cleanup at the home, you found your mom's scans and you took them to Dr. Eke. And he said, and I'll let you finish the story.
Yeah, he just kind of shook his head sadly because these scans were taken in 2021, and he said we could have prevented. She did not have to be in the state that she is because this technology was available. And again, that's why I feel like we need to tell people that there is technology that is available, that this does not have to be your path, because Alzheimer's is not just affecting one person, it is affecting your whole community. So I just definitely want people to know.
Wow, that's such a powerful story, JL. It really is. I love that. And I love that you asked me to have Dr. Eke on the show so that you could share your testimonial and then also talk a little bit about why you're so passionate about it. And it shows, it comes across. And I want you to know, I am so grateful for your friendship. You are so awesome. Thank you for being on the show. So Dr. Eke, we're going to jump over to you because I want you to tell the audience who you are and what makes you get up in the morning.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Howard. This is an amazing opportunity to communicate with our people, to understand that we cannot and must not struggle alone. Opportunities are there. Thank you for inviting me to your forum. And I would just begin by saying that I am the under shepherd of Adonai Most High. And by serving my God, it had become clearly the assignment that I know God has called me to. So by way of describing who I am a trained neuropsychologist, and I am the director of Cornerstone Health Solutions, the founder and CEO. We've been around since 2020. And our mission is somewhat of a departure from the conventional psychotherapy activities. In fact, I would tell my clients that I do not specifically practice psychotherapy, and I would explain that in a moment. But what we do here at Cornerstone Health Solutions is integrate the best, what I would dare call cutting edge medical device technology application and looking at ways to address old brain damage issues, psycho analysis issues relating to the human brain, issues relating to human behavior, issues relating to injuries, and ask ourselves to question what is the right way. And I say this because when I mentioned that it's a departure, it is important for me to explain that in my way of practice, I believe that while psychotherapy is important, it is wholly insufficient. And for some people who are doing occupational therapy or physical therapy, those are excellent modalities for helping. People use CBT or DBT, all manners of psychotherapy activities I find all of those on their own merit useful. However, I think that what works is the integration of our mind, our heart, our gut, that is, understanding brain connectivity, understanding how the brain works with the heart, and understanding how all those two, the brain and the heart, connect to your physiology, your gut. It is said in our practice that there is a direct connection between the brain, the heart, and the gut. And in fact, the science of today will tell you that there is something called the brain-gut axis. And to make sure that people are able to understand what we practice, we take our time to assess people, to understand the history, as was the case with Ms. Bolton, and not just understand the history, but understand the patterns of behavior, issues that they had encountered growing up and advanced over the years, and then ultimately make the neurological determination. I would hasten to add that I don't practice alone. We have a clinical director here, Dr. Petra Thomas, who works with us. We have a number of neurologists, a number of psychiatrists who work with us as consultants. So we don't work alone. And thus, when clients come to us, we conduct comprehensive evaluation and an individual assessment. And then we design an appropriate protocol that allows us to attend to their needs and achieve the type of results that we have had with Ms. Bolton.
That is awesome. I love that you could be able to have so many experts on site and be able to work with you, because you're right, you can't work alone. Doing it together and then coming up with a great blueprint and solution for them. Yes. I want to ask the question about TMS. And so I would love for you to explain to the audience a little bit more in detail how that works, what addressing the brain issues, health issues. How does TMS work, the science behind it?
So thank you. It is a very important and timely question. I think for many in our audience, it is difficult to wrap our heads around how, as Ms. Bolton said, we take care of everything else, the gut, the physiology, the cardiovascular system, the skeletal system of our bodies, but we seldom have the best way of treating our brains. We think our brains are designed to last forever and they don't encounter any damage, and or that there's nothing you can do to enhance the capacity of the brain to function. And so in the past, we've had, as said, psychologists, psychiatrists, neurologists that do MRI or fMRI imaging, and those happen when there is a major crisis. What we have found over the years is the advent of novel treatment technologies like the transcranial magnetic stimulation machine, which is really a novel medical device that is giving us an incredible opportunity to understand the electrical activities in the brain. And so transcranial magnetic stimulation is a non-invasive system that allows the practitioner who is trained, licensed, and certified to assess the patient and understand what is going on, and using brain mapping system, understand the particular areas to essentially place a coil in the brain. And when a coil is placed in the brain, it allows you to discharge electrical currents to the area of the brain. And what it does is, because a significant portion of the brain functions as an electrical connected circuitry system. And the coil, you might see in the background, allows the technician to activate dormant brain cells. And it reads the electrical activities in the brain by sending bursts of 10 hertz of frequency. It doesn't harm your cells. It actually activates what we call neuroplasticity in the brain and allows your brain to start working. I liken it to a car that says the battery is dead. Now, the car is still okay, but you get a battery charger and you connected the left and the right current and you turn it on and the battery is charged and you are again on your way. It is an amazing technology that allows us to address the significant variety of what we call brain dysregulation or brain dysfunction, all of which affects our cognitive behavior, affects the issues that we face. Anything from major depressive disorder to sleep disorder, to addiction, to suicide ideation, Alzheimer's, dementia, and the like. I would want to also indicate that so far the TMS machine is approved by the Food and Drug Administration for specifically the treatment of major depressive disorder. Now, having said that, there are what we call connected relationships to major depressive disorder. When someone is depressed, you could be functionally depressed, you could be acutely depressed, and you could be majorly depressed. In either of those instances, what we find is that there are ancillary connections. When you're depressed, for example, you may not be able to sleep well. Or if you're depressed, for example, you may want to kill yourself. Nothing actually works. When people are depressed, they harm themselves because they don't see the reason or value to live. So there are connected parts that allows us to independently and individually assess the person, see what is going on, and it is often manifested in their change in behavioral expressions. Once we make the determination, then we are able to apply this non-invasive treatment protocol that allows for the dormant brains to be excited. And when they are excited, it allows the brain cell neurotransmitters that connect from the brain synapse to the brain axon and allows communication to reactivate. And it is not just novel, but it is an excellent way to address a variety of brain-related dysfunction.
I love that. Thank you for that scientific explanation. And it was so very clear what it does. So my question now is, how often would someone need to get this done, and who would be your target audience?
Excellent. So here at Cornerstone Health Solutions, we have technicians that specialize in understanding how we map out the brain. In today's artificial intelligence environment, we're able to really understand different segments of the brain, and particularly the areas concerning depression and all of the impact, and understanding what the brain sulcus is and the difference between that and the brain gyrus and the thalamus, and understanding the importance of the location that needs to be treated, like the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. I am using these medical terms to make a point. And that point is the brain is extremely important. It is the core of our existence. And there are technologies today that allow us, particularly here at Cornerstone Health Solutions, to determine who is sick and to what extent they are sick, and be able to help them address those issues. I would hasten to add, whether it is traumatic brain injury or people who are just tired, there is the research that shows that people who are engaged in very stressful professional environments function as people who are depressed, but they are functionally depressed. And they may just want to activate the neurons in their brains to have some level of clarity, to function with some level of efficiency. And so it's not just for people who are sick, people who are injured in the brain. It's also for people who just want to optimize their brain. So there's what we call electroencephalograph that we also use here in the office. And it is used to track brainwave activities. And those brainwave activities will help us stimulate the brain. It's called neuromodulation. And so we modulate the existing brain cells to fall back in line. If you use the same analogy as starting up the car by pumping up energy to the battery. And so our audience varies. We go all the way from people 7 years of age to young adults to elderly people right up to 75, 80. The issue is not really the age or the male or female. It's about cognitive behavioral dissonance. It's about the dysregulation, the inability to sleep, the inability to control your impulse to kill yourself, suicide and or addiction. All of these things are connected to our brain wave frequencies, you know, your alpha wave and your beta wave, your theta wave and your delta wave and your gamma wave. How are they in balance? And when they are off balance, then we need to help you re-regulate your brain. But more particularly, and I think this is important, our people are very afraid of anything that has to do with the brain. We all understand it is the center of our existence. But we ought to know that the brain is a physiological reality, is an electric circuitry system that actually needs help from time to time. We overwork it, we overstress it, we abuse our minds, the things we put in our mouth, the way that we don't sleep well. So when you don't take good care of your car, the car engine breaks down. And that's where we come in. And we don't want people to be afraid of this technology. We think they should embrace it because it is finally the excellent tool we need to understand the activities in our brains and to be able to balance things that are off kilter.
And that's where I would love to jump in, because his description of a car battery, it's perfect. And first of all, I will also say that with my depression, like today is kind of an overcast, cloudy day. I would wake up feeling very low. And you're not born that way. You learn that. So that was, you know, a brainwave that I had formed myself, that it's like, oh, it's not sunny today, so I'm going to be low. Not consciously, but that's just how I felt. And I truly feel like it's like I got an electric start with the TMS. It's like I got a jump start and could feel good again. And as we were actually going through the process, what I loved about it is that there was talk therapy. We would sit and talk first, then we would get on the machine, then we would talk after, so that he was knowing what was going on in my life. It was a series of 10 sessions, and we had a weekend break, and I happened to go to a Nourish retreat in the middle of it. And when I came back for that next session, he could actually, as he's holding the thing on my brain, he could look at the machine and say, "What are you thinking about?" Because my brain activity was totally different, because I had gone to a retreat where I was relaxing, I was doing a lot of breathing, I was doing yoga, I was by the beach, and you can actually see that change. And that's what's so mind-blowing. And I feel like, just as he said, people are afraid of it because this is our brain, but yet people aren't afraid. If they break their bones, they're going to go to the bone doctor. If they have some heart palpitations, they're going to see the cardiologist. So why not go look at your brain? It can make a difference.
That's a great point. And that brings me to the next point. A couple of things, because you all met, okay? And JL, it takes courage to say, I'm going to go do this. So Dr. Eke, in the conversations with JL, you were able to gather the intel, gather the information around her and what was going on with her. So from that point, you're gathering intel and you're now talking with her about the possibility of getting this particular, science with the TMS. And JL, how are you feeling in terms of, did you just jump right on it, or did you say, was there some apprehension and then you just said, I'm just going to do it? How did that all come into play?
Honestly, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of my routine of, it's like, oh, this just happened, so I'm going to feel this way. And just being presented with the information that you don't have to feel this way, I was on board right away. It was affecting my marriage. It was affecting my career. It was affecting my sleep. And with my mom's situation, I do know that lack of sleep contributes to Alzheimer's. Sleep is so critical for your brain. Your brain has got to rest. Like Dr. Eke said, we take it for granted and we don't take care of it. And so there were slight moments where I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This sounds crazy. But the alternative, the thought that things could be different is what really inspired me. But also my husband was a big part of it too. So that's part of Dr. Eke's plan, is that he wants your spouse to be on board. And if you're not married, who in your life is that person that can be your support, so that you have someone that can actually see the results as it's happening and be a sounding board. And just to, even now, I still get so excited to hear my husband talk about how different I am. And he keeps telling me, let me know if I'm doing this too much, but he is elated at the changes. And so I just can't speak highly enough about it.
That is
I think to the question you asked about how we go about determining who is qualified and who is a good candidate for transcranial magnetic stimulation therapy, it is a very important question, because the process of determining who qualifies creates that comfort level for the client. It creates that comfort level for the family. We are very intentional and deliberate in the way that we apply this technology, because it is not actually designed to replace pharmacological intervention. Rather, it is designed to be a supplement when pharmacological intervention has lost its capacity to do what it's supposed to do. So by the time people come to us, assuming they've had previously brain injuries and injuries like concussion, mild traumatic brain injuries, or they have had physical abuse, they didn't really know about it, or genetic issues, as was said, it is important for us to tease out all of those facts. And so we use standard psychometric analysis tools to measure, to ask questions. The FDA has a whole slew of tools. The American Psychological Association, to which I am a member, has a lot of recommended standardized tools. Ask questions upon questions. There are neurological test tools that we bring in our office. People sit down and the questions are asked. I want to know about your family, your children, your relationship. I want to know what you eat. When do you eat? I want to know how well you sleep or not. I want to know the habits you indulge in. All of those things, all of those external factors help paint an amazing picture of how your brain has been taxed. People don't recognize. Every single day we wake up, there are multiple individual stressor factors. We try to navigate driving, taking the kids to school, getting to the office, doing our tasks, paying our bills. All of those things task the brain. And so the brain activity just fluctuates intensely depending on whether you have the capacity to address those issues. And so what we do is we tease out these facts and we run a model, and we are able to arrive at some determinative factors based on a scale rate, a scale range, and say, well, if you are at this range, this means that you can continue to have pharmacological intervention, physical exercise, eating properly, and the like. Then if you're in the middle range, we think that something is really wrong, and we will probably ask you to go and get an MRI imaging so that a neurologist that comes in to work with us will take a good look. And if you're at the far end range, maybe it's because of brain injury, and or maybe because you're really depressed. You have lost the capacity to manage those individual stressors. That's where depression begins. So there are individual stressors that create persistent stress factors. And those stress factors lead to repetitive anxiety. Anxiety being the manifestation of those individual stressors where you begin to deny yourself the capacity to manage those problems. And when they persist, then you are in the range of functional depression. You are still able to do activities of daily living, your job, your home, but you are almost in a split personality environment. Your heart palpitation, your blood pressure is rising, the weather becomes an issue, what your spouse says becomes an issue, and you don't like yourself. You begin to deny yourself the capacity to manage your challenges. That's when we are in a dangerous territory. So we do the imaging, we study it to find out what is going on, eliminate the genetic part of it, and understand whether or not you have some kind of brain injury that needs to be addressed. After which we say, okay, we think that you're really depressed, and your depression has led to these other things happening. Obesity, you're eating too much, or you're refusing to eat, you're rejecting communication and community interaction. We know there's a problem. And that problem manifests itself in the brainwave activities. And the electroencephalograph that is built in the TMS machine allows us to do what we call motor evoked potential, understand where you are, and then we design a specific treatment protocol. Usually, it should be anywhere from 15 to 20 treatment regimen every day to make sure that your brain coordinates. And to the point Ms. Bolton made, we make sure that we talk to you. We make sure that you understand that it is more than just your brain. What happens electrically in your brain has to do with your central nervous system. And your central nervous system is connected to your peripheral nervous system. And that peripheral nervous system helps determine how the rest of your physiology responds to what is going on in your head. So they're all connected, and we educate. Rather than just saying we're doing talk therapy, I like to say we educate you. We tell you what we have studied about you. We tell you what you need to change, and we monitor you. And at the point at which you really need help, then TMS comes in.
I love that. That is so good. So you really just, that was my next question, but you tied it all together beautifully with the bow, telling us about the brain, heart, and gut, kind of all its overall, how it affects your overall health. So it's those three pillars that you just discussed in everything you just shared with us. So JL, with that said, from a integrative health coach perspective, in terms of gut, I know you also changed a lot of what you eat, and you changed your diet after you were diagnosed with cancer and got your treatment, and then now you went on to become a health coach. What do you say about that in terms of how that has affected you as well?
I would say, first of all, eat right to think right.
Mm.
And fast food is driving the epidemic of ADHD, depression. Your brain uses 20% of oxygen and blood flow. And your brain is the soft matter like butter that's housed in a bony, ridged structure. So it's already protected, but it can bounce around. You may have had a fall or hit your head and you think you're fine. Maybe you're not. They will check to see if you had a concussion and you're fine. You go through the protocol for that, but maybe you're not. You should again have it looked at. You never know. But brain health, it's not that hard. Think about three things. Number one, you got to care about your brain. My husband and I love to get on our scooters. We just found our rollerblades, but now I'm like, I think I need to invest in a helmet.
Yes,
and,
for sure.
And avoid things that hurt it. Think before you act, and then do things that help it. So, you want to always be increasing blood flow in your brain. And our brain is 80% water. So drink more water. Hydrate, always be hydrating. Eat things that are good for you. Also, decreasing things that decrease blood flow to your brain are things like alcohol. I love a good glass of wine every now and then, but I'm very conscious about how often and how much, because I think, is this good for my brain? Not really. So alcohol, drugs, caffeine will also slow down blood flow in your brain. So no coffee or tea for me, all caffeine free. And then things that increase blood flow are exercise. And especially we start to get older and our bones are getting more brittle, then exercising with weights is important. But even just spices, specific spices like cinnamon and oregano, garlic, ginger, things like that, making sure what are you putting in your food to season it that are also helping your brain. And it's interesting that foods that mimic what a brain looks like are very healthy, like avocado. When you cut it an avocado and you see it's like there's a brain inside, almost the seed there. And walnuts also look similar to the brain. So look for foods like that. So what you eat makes a very big difference, and drinking plenty of water.
Thank you for that, JL. So with that said, I want you, unless you don't have it in front of you, I think you have it in your spirit. What is your favorite quote by Wendell Berry?
Oh, goodness. All right. And that is that and actually I wanted to address this with something Dr. Eke said also, is that what he's describing, what we're talking about today, is truly health care.
Right. Overall.
The term that we use in Western medicine as healthcare is really disease care, because you're running to the doctor because something's wrong. But this is preventative. And my quote is that we are fed by the food industry, which cares nothing about our health, and that we're treated by the health industry, which cares nothing about our food. So they're combating each other. So we really need to take control and stand up for ourselves, and again, have a desire to want to take care of your brain. Your brain is so magnificent. It's running everything. So why not look at it and take care of it?
I love that. Thank you, JL. And Dr. Eke, I have one last question for you as we wrap up.
Sure.
What advice would you give someone who may need your services? Where would they start?
I'll say it this way. Pay attention to your body. Every single artery vein in your body is connected to your central nervous system. Pay attention to what your body is telling you. Pay attention to what your heart, your pump station is telling you. Pay attention to the changes in your mood, in your emotions, in your anxiety level, in the way that you speak to people. Every single one of those things that happen to you in the course of the day give you signal as to the health level of your physiology. Are you angry a lot? Are you short with people? Are you often crying? Are you one that is so afraid of anything and everything? These are common things that we all experience every single day. And you begin there to say to yourself, I've lived this long. Why am I so afraid? Why am I so nervous? Why am I overfeeding myself? Why am I drinking 4 or 5 cups of coffee? Why am I assuaging my situation with so much alcohol? Why do I want to kill myself? These things are important. So when you become aware of who you are, and you become aware that you are becoming someone you don't recognize, that's the time for a checkup and a check-in. You ask yourself, what I'm eating, is it good for me? If I'm sleeping 4 or 5 hours because I'm spending so much time on my cell phone and on YouTube and getting information that I don't need, and I'm not able to
escaping reality.
Yes, I'm
Is
not
that what it
able
is,
to
JL?
Yeah,
Escape
escaping, but
reality.
you're not really escaping any reality. You're not even postponing it. You're adding to the dysfunction in your body.
Right.
You need to say to yourself, why am I going through all of these things? The why is the beginning of the solution. Because once you ask the why, you're telling yourself the truth. You're also recognizing that something has gone wrong. And that's when we say, talk to your partner, talk to your family member, then make a decision to go and do a check-in. We do independent brain assessment tests. You don't have to do a TMS. You come into our office and we will do an independent assessment test. We can do it online. We do cognitive assessment tests, see where you are, and we produce that report in a nice way. You can come doing TMS. We do electroencephalograph activity where we put this thing on your head. It has 19 channel sensors, and it reads your brain wave, and we can prepare that information. We can do imaging of your brain. All of these things are important to do self-assessment, self-evaluation. Then beyond that, if you find that things are increasingly off kilter, you don't have the ability or the capacity to manage all of the things and you're getting overwhelmed, then you need to call us. You need to send us an email. We are highly responsive. We are able to bring you in, set up a time, talk to you. And if we determine that you need 2 things, treatment and the educational tools to allow you to cope, to give you the skill sets, to show you how to understand what's going on and how to manage it, then you are well on your way. The worst thing you can do is do nothing.
Amen.
That is absolutely the worst thing you can do. If you're a woman, a mother, watching your child, a grown adult in the home, your husband, don't hesitate. Don't excuse it away. call us. Something is going on in your brain. And if you
with
don't pay
that,
attention,
yeah.
I'm sorry, JL. Dr. Eke, you said call us. So this will be a great time for you to share your information, your website and email and phone number. So if someone would like to further the conversation with you and your team, they could do that.
yes, they can. They can call us at 571-586-8886. They can go to cornerstonehealthsolutions.com. You can see the background is a little bit of my website. And fill out the form, hit submit. It takes you less than 2 minutes. And we will immediately respond. We don't judge people. We don't classify you as someone that is failed. We have a room dedicated for people where it is your safe zone. It is a safe room to come and be yourself. Have a conversation with us, and we will give you a safe environment that is protected for you to share your experience and challenges and concerns. And then we are not just going to put you on the machine. In fact, that's the last thing we're going to do. We find out how to help you correct the issues behaviorally. And when you are not able to because you've gone so far off, then we apply the TMS system and to give you the tools to get you to go along and recover from the challenges. I will make one last plea. Our people, African Americans, need to stop being afraid of the brain. You cannot fix something you're afraid to think about. Talk to someone. Don't keep it in, because you will only make it worse. And come to us. We will give you the best tools to take very good care of the most important part of your physiology.
Amen.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And JL, you wanted to share your information as well. I know you had something to say before that, so share that.
Real quickly, I just wanted to say what I recognized in myself is that I was feeling very overwhelmed. My anxiety level was through the roof. I couldn't wait to go to sleep. I couldn't wait for it to be nighttime. So it's good. I get to shut down and just go to sleep, and I'd open my eyes and I would not be excited for the day. So that was my functional depression. But with that, also, as Dr. Eke is stating, that so often there's shame, and there's no shame around having heart disease or cancer or diabetes, but yet there's a stigma attached to depression or bipolar or schizophrenia. And again, we cannot be afraid to look at our brain, because it is a magnificent piece of machinery that God has given us. It is more massive than the stars in the universe, the neural connections that we have. And again, this is an answer to having it healthy, and having a healthy diet can decrease psychiatric disorders by 30%. There is an amazing statistic of how many women are functionally depressed, and we just keep on moving. But again, I just want to advocate to not be afraid to look at what the solutions could be. And it's non-invasive. It doesn't take a lot of time to do. And again, I am ecstatic with my results and very grateful.
And we are grateful that you were on the show to share your journey and your expertise around the health piece, as well as your own personal journey and what happened with you and how you connected with Dr. Eke. So why don't you share your information, JL? So if those who want to further the conversation with you can further the conversation. Your email.
Thank you. My email is jlbolton at icloud.net. And then also I have a website, which is riseuphealthyself.com.
I love that. I love your website. You know, I always rise up and heal thyself.
Rise up and heal thyself.
Definitely do it. Definitely do it. Well, it has been a pleasure to have you both on the show today. And I want to thank you for taking time to share your wisdom and your expertise with us. You both are truly inspiring and empowering and impacting the world. So thank you both.
Thank
you, Edna.
You're very welcome. And so as we wrap up, if you've enjoyed your time with us together, remember to share, like, and subscribe to the podcast and leave a comment and reach out to these awesome guests, because they do have the tools to help you be better, feel better, and get to the place where you want to be. And you can connect with Voices of Encouragement through VOE metoday@gmail.com. You can also go up on the website to see what resources and services we have and what we offer for a transformation in your life. And it's under voicesoфencouragement.com. And remember, as I always say, be bold, be true, be kind, be you. In Ephesians 4:1, walk worthy of the call for which you were called.